So let's start the Mamer וספרתם לכם in Likutei Torah in Parshas Bamidbar. This is the 11th Mamer in the Parsha, which is וספרתם לכם. That's from the Pasuk. The Pasuk says וספרתם לכם ממוחרת Shabbos, that from the day after Shabbos, that is from the day after Yom Tov. In this case, Shabbos means Yom Tov. The day after the first day of Yom Tov Pesach, it says Tispru Chamishim Yom. You should count 50 days. The truth of the matter is that we don't actually count 50 days. We count 49 days, and the 50th day is Shavuos. So he asks, Lahavin Kol Zeh, to understand all this, V'chi Chamishim Yom Seifrim, do we then count 50 days? But in truth is, we only count 49 days. So why does it say you should count 50 days when we're only counting? In reality, we only count 49 days. Another question. Gam lahavin pirush hasvira. To understand the meaning, the interpretation, the way we count. The way we count, we say like this. Hayom yom echad, yom echad loimer, 1 day to the yomer. Then we say hayom shnei yomim loimer, 2 days to the yomer. Shem shavu echad, which is 1 week. V'chein shnei shavus, chulu v'chein kulam, 2 weeks and 3. But it says seemingly kach hayuroi loimer. This would be the fitting way to say would have been Hayom Yom Rishon La'omer. Today is the first day to the Omer, and then say Hayom Yom Sheni La'omer. Today is the second day, and today is the third day. Instead of saying Shnei Yomim, 2 days, but the second, first, second, third, versus 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. So, what is this idea? Is going to explain later on. Hine inyan hasfira. So what is the idea of sefira? Ki bepesach hoyu makrivim ha'omer misorim. On Pesach, they would bring the offering of the omer, and they use barley. Because at the time of Pesach, that's the time when they start cutting the barley. The barley harvested is in Pesach time. The harvest of the wheat is Shavuos time. So on Pesach they would bring the omer from Soirim because Shuhu Reishis Kitzirchem Bazmanahu. That is the beginning of the cutting of the grain of the barley. At that time is the barley. That's on Pesach. Ushtei halechem mechitim. And the 2 breads that they brought on Shavuos, that comes from wheat. That's the time when the first of the cutting of the chitim commences. It starts with the shtei halechem, with the lechem. In between between the cutting of the barley and the cutting of the wheat, that's when we count. So it gives you the idea. So you see somehow that the counting is in between these 2 cuttings, the cutting of the barley and the cutting of the wheat. To explain this idea. So now he's going to go away into explaining the way it's according to the Kabbalah. In the chariot that Yecheskel saw in his vision, so it says, Ufneim v'kanfeim prudis mil milo, that their faces and their wings of these angels, they are separated above. So what does that mean? The verse fully says, the verse over there says, "Ufneim v'kanfeim prudus milmailo liish shtayim choivris ishu shtayim chayim." Giving you different parts of their wings. They had like 6 wings. 2 went up to cover their face, to cover their body. But here we're talking about the 2 that were spread out towards the top. What does it mean that the towards the top? He's going to explain that the angels, we're talking about in the what he saw in the vision, they always are going upward. Their wings are top and they're spread out, which means there's a different level for each one. They're trying to reach up and go to the higher level, as we'll see. Ayin is a bezer chelegimul pinchas daf reish chavtes soif amud aleph, v'daf reish chav gimul soif amud aleph, ubetikun zoyer tikun vav b'tchinosei, b'soif tikun hey, u'ba'avodas hakodesh cheleg dalet perik yutas. So pirush v'kanfeim. So what is the meaning of their wings? In this case, kanfeim means afifosim. They're flying. Their kanfeim are prudent, means they fly. They're flying. They fly with your wings. So afifosom v'astalkusum l'maylo. They're flying and they're moving away to above. They're going up to the above, which is likolel b'mekoydam ba'ava v'yira. That means to be included in their source with love and fear. The source means Hashem, who vitalizes them, gives them, sustains them, and gives them their existence. They want to go back to their source. From the source that gives them life. How do they go back? With love and fear. Love of their source, love of Hashem and the fear of Hashem. Ukedik like there's the pasuk says. So this is a pasuk in Hosea Yud Aleph, pasuk Yud. Over there it says, "Achrei Hashem yelchu ka'aryeh yishok." They will follow Hashem. He will roar like a lion. What is it? What is this idea? Roaring and like a lion. They're gonna go and they're gonna. That is all expressing. The roar is an expression of their love and their fear to Hashem, that they have that desire, that push. So over there it says, Achrei Hashem yelechu, they go after Hashem, ke'aryeh yishok. They roar like a lion. So when we say here, that they're going up, this is like the lion roaring, going after Hashem, as the pasuk said. Pirush. What does it mean? They go after Hashem like the lion. Which lion are we talking about? Not just a regular lion. We're talking Karish ben Merkava. We're talking about the lion of the Merkava, Sheshoyeg, who roars, Vahoime, Kodesh Ugamer. Like we say, by Fanim Kodesh, 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 we say this is all a roaring of the lion. So when it says they follow Hashem like the lion, meaning like the lion of the Merkava, who connects to Hashem and wants to go up. B'chol chevtzev, b'chol yishoy, and his whole want and his whole striving. What is he? What is lehikalel v'lehizbatel b'mitzias? Wants to be included and subjugated. He doesn't want to be. We're talking about here, this is the lion, for example. So the lion roars, in this case, the Merkava, they roar, they don't want to be here, they want to go up, they want to be in the higher level. And the same thing is, when we have a shoyer goya, the yelling of the ox, is also just like the lion. And similar of this, it says, by Yisharna HaPodres v'goy holach v'goy in Shmuel Aleph Siman Vav. It says Beis, I think it's Perikut Beis. So it says over there, by Yisharna HaPodres b'derech al derech Beis Shemesh b'Mesila Achas holchu holach v'go v'leisoru yom v'nusmoil. Those are they were going, and basically what this pasuk tells us that they were going, and the noise that they were making, the yell, this was also represents upnei shorshe b'merkava. Just like we say the Aryeh b'merkava, now this is the pnei shorshe b'merkava. Because in the Markeves Yecheskel, as we said in the pasuk earlier, you had we'll see later on, it says you have a pnei odom, pnei Aryeh, upnei shoir, and pnei nesher. So you have all these different levels. So we talked about the Aryeh, we talked about the lion, and now we're talking about the pnei shoir sheb merkava. So what does it mean v'kanfeyem prudos? Which means in ebchina zu shel kanfeyem, this level of the kanfeyem, which means they're flying, this that they're going, expiring to Hashem, hem prudos milmailo. They are separated above. What does it mean, separated? Which means that the level of desire to expire to Hashem isn't the same by everybody. It's different. So that's why kol echod ve'echod lefi madregos. Everybody according to his step. Shemadregas ha'echod muvdeles u'mufredes mechavedet. The level of one is separated and is different, is distinguished from the other one. That means prudos means separate. They're not the same. Okay, as the pasuk says over there, with regards to the various different Merkava, the Pnei Aryeh was El HaYimin, that was to the right, which is Ba'ahava. Umachne Mechoel, that is the camp of Mechoel. They serve Hashem with love. Upnei Shoir, that's Machne Gabriel Mahas Smoil B'Yira, that's the level of Yira. That's the level of service of the angels. Upnei Nesher, Himida Memutzas, and the faith Nesher is a middle measure, B'chinas Rachmonus. That's the level of compassion. You have Chesed, Gevura, Tiferes. Kindness is love. Strictness is fear, awe. And in the middle is compassion. Like we say, that's called the Nesher. So you have Aryeh is love, Shoir is Gevura, and Nesher is in the middle. What's the connection between Nesher? Because we see that when Hashem leads, it says in the pasuk of the Kenesher Yoyer Kinoi, in the Varim Lamed Beis Yud Aleph, that just like a eagle wakes up the babies and he takes care of them and he's compassionate. So you see that the Nesher is associated with compassion. That's why we say over here is Kenesher Yoyer Kinoi. And that's why also Vazen Emar, by this we say, it says, I carried you on the eagle's wing. What does it mean, eagle's wing? Meaning Hashem had compassion for them. What does it mean it had compassion? Because the Jewish people, in essence, weren't worthy of this whole experience of Matan Torah to reach that level, but it is the compassion. Hashem told them, I will carry you on eagle's wings, meaning I had compassion on you. Because the Jews were in Egypt and they worked with mortar and with bricks, begashmis. They were physically worked, being very, very entrenched, sort of in the physicality. They were not fit to merit to this great advantage. That they were Matan Torah, they got to such a high level, which is Ponim Beponim Dibar Avaya V'Gomer. Hashem spoke to you face to face. So that's why the pasuk says it was Hashem's compassion. Through the level of compassion. Shem Kamfen Ishorim, that's called the eagle's wing. That's the way Hashem brought you to. I brought you to me was through the confidence. V'ayin mashekosu b'parshas Balak sev dibra maschil mimona hafayak. V'hatam shekarfeim produsu. Why are their wings separate? In other words, why is there such a difference that each one has a separate level of love and fear of Hashem? The angels are different in the various different levels. Is their entire flow and their energy, vitality, comes from His blessed Malchus. Malchus of Atzilus is the energized of all the Malachim. The pasuk says, "Malchuscha Malchus kol elam," that your kingdom is the kingdom of all world. Meaning, everything comes from Malchus. Hamarumas be'ez hey mishma yizbarach, which is hinted in the letter Hey. You have Yud K, Vav K. Malchus is the level K. Yud usually is Chochma, and K, first one is Bina. Vav is the Midos, so, and the layers of Hey Achren is Malchus. Ukediksib, as the pasuk says, Eila Tul Shemaim, says Bihi Baram. Our sages tell us that it means Behei Baram, that Hashem created them with the Hey. The two letters, Yud Kei Hashem Tzurei Lamim, but over here it is the Hey of Malchus. This Malchus is, we say, the 10 commandments, which everything was the 10 sayings, which Hashem created the world as Sodom Amoris. So that Hey Shubachinas Ruach Piv Yizbarech. That is sort of the ear of His mouth. That's the level of Malchus. Because all of the armies come from Hashem's breath of His mouth. Like the ear that comes from the mouth, so to speak. The angels were created sort of from the ear that comes from Hashem's mouth, so to speak. Mamer, as the saying says, but also klila, the lesbe mashosha. A light letter that doesn't have any substance. That's referred to the letter Hey. Why Hey? When you say Hey, there's no other, it's just ear that comes out. That's the letter Hey. So Behei Zu, and this letter Hey represents the 5. Hey is also 5. Allah Beis Gimel Daled Hey. Hey is 5. Those are the 5. The air comes out in 5 different ways. So basically, from Malchus, there is, just like by the speech of the person, is 5 different ways. The Hey Mitzvah. The Hainu K'moshe Hevel Adibur Mischalik Lehem Mitzvah Saderech Moshe. Just as the ear of the Dibur divides up into 5 expressions. We know there is when it comes out, it gives the different letters. There is some that comes from the lip, some that comes from the throat. So it's divides into 5. Hey motzot hapeh. The 5 adach moshel. Kach b'chinas ruach pivis baruch. Likewise, the ruach of Hashem's mouth mischalik liyis madreges chalukas u'muvdalos u'mezu. It's divided so that it becomes different levels. You have from the Hey, you have different levels, which is the Daled Machnes Shechina. Those are the 4 camps of the divine. So you have Machne Michoel. You have the camp of Michoel, which is Pnei Aryeh. That's to the Yemin. And then you have Keneged Al Mitzvos. So that's 4. So you have the 4 camps. What's the 5th? Umoitza HaHei. Those are the letter Gimel Yud Chof Kuf. That comes from the throat. Moitza Hachich. That's come together. Gimel Yud Chof Kuf. That 5th one is the general. Is B'chinas Oisei Sholem B'Mreimov. That's like he makes peace, because in those b'meroimov, the meroimov represent the 4 levels of Shechina, because each one has their own service to Hashem, to where they expired. But then you have a general what makes peace between all of them, so that they all coexist. Michoel is the Sar, charge of Mayim, and Gabriel is the Sar of Eish. Ve'ena Mayim Mechaber. Mipnei hashpo haklolis shebahem v'mikor chaytzon. Because of the general flow in them from the root where they were carved out. So while each one has their own specific, but they have the general flow which causes them to be able to be together with the others. So this level, kulam ke'echad oynim be'ema be'emrim kodesh, all together. There is no longer a difference, because there is one general thing that unites them all. That's the hashpah klolis. That's the 5th. That's the Oisha Shalom. This is the meaning when it says there, Boyaros kemare halapidim, imishalachas beinachayis chulu. It burns like the image of the flames, and it walks around amongst the chayis. Pirush hi misalachas is hey misalachas. The hainu lifishan imshach be'em hashpoas bechinas hahei, because they get that hey, that middle lefikoch boyerim ve'emrim kodesh. That's why they burn and they say kodesh.